La Liga title race, the El Clásico. What a bold match it was. And once again, the legacy of Jude Bellingham was in full display in El Clásico. A remontada with the signature of JB5 that Vinicius Jr. commented JB5 equals CR7. Right, that is a bold take by Vini, but he saw it. Legacy, Galáctico. That's a stardom, Jude Bellingham right now with that celebration. Okay? Ronaldo's got the C, but Jude Bellingham now has his own iconic celebration too. And 13 games, 13 goals, 3 assists. That is 100 million, making 100 million be a bargain right now. Yeah. The best English player in the world. And that is a big statement, trust me. Because who is he against? We're going to mention more in the podcast ahead, people.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, a good day for English players abroad. Or a good weekend, I should say, for English players abroad. But I'm going to say it, what everyone's thinking here. Barcelona, for the majority of the game, was the better team. They absolutely were the better team. And while Jude Bellingham was the difference maker with the 2 goals, I got to hand it to Ancelotti for bringing on Modric, for bringing on Camavinga when it looked like Ferland Mendy was getting burnt down that left side. So some really, really good kind of momentum shifting moments in this game. But it was a game of 65 minutes that Barcelona won, and then a game of 25 minutes that Jude Bellingham won.
It's true. And with Ancelotti, I'm going to kind of agree with you because I do agree that Camavinga coming on and Modric coming on changed the game. But I think Mendy shouldn't start when Camavinga's available, even on the bench now. Okay, Camavinga should have started from the start. And the Luka Modric substitute was the most important moment in the El Clásico for Real Madrid. I totally agree with what you're saying. And Jude Bellingham this season, it's going to be the last dance of Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. And Jude Bellingham has already equaled the best tally in terms of goals of Zidane. And it's October right now. Okay, he's learning from the best, and that's what I'm so hyped about. Jude Bellingham grabbed the game. And you said it. Barca was dominant. Barca had the majority of the game. They had control of the game. I agree with what you said. But what Barca didn't have was the lethal capacity to finish the game. Ferran Torres, Lewandowski, like they didn't appear when they needed most. And the most important player of Barcelona, or definitely top 3, is Gavi. That was a masterclass that we managed to see. Jess Bellingham, masterclass, Galáctico moment with those 2 goals. But Gavi turned up and the world was watching, okay? World-class generational talent coming with Gavi. I wouldn't be surprised if he was captain again this season already. 19.
Oh, and you could see it in his face after when he was saluting the fans. It was almost tough to watch. I mean, this is a 19-year-old kid that wears his heart on his sleeve, and he was on the verge of tears because he felt, just like Ilkay Gundogan said in his post-game comments, he felt like this was a tough one to drop. They should have won this. And Alex, this is not exactly surprising. I don't know if you've gone back and looked at the history, but in all competitions, Barcelona have lost 5 of the last 6 El Clásicos in Barcelona. 5 of the last.
And Barcelona were unbeaten 13 games before this one. 13 games. It's the boogeyman effect. It's the boogeyman effect. And it's when it has to happen, it happens with Real Madrid. And in this game, there was an interesting fun fact that in this El Clásico, it was the 9th El Clásico of Gavi, and we had the youngest player ever to play in El Clásico, Lamine Yamal, 16 years and 107 days. And we had the oldest player to play in an El Clásico with Luka Modric at Real Madrid with 38 years old and 47 days. That was the most important substitute in that game, no doubt, and changed the course of it. And Real Madrid, notice that Real Madrid now, Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Tchouaméni, Camavinga, they are starting to bond with each other on and off the pitch. You can see the chemistry going up, and that's what you need. A happy group and a group that is willing to build the foundations to win a Champions League. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. With Ancelotti, with Xabi Alonso, with whoever. Jude Bellingham, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Camavinga. They all want to win and make history with this team. Okay, so Los Blancos, they're looking scary for the future, Breton.
They are, because Ancelotti still does not see Jude Bellingham as a goal scorer. An out-and-out goal scorer, and I would have to agree with him. I mean, he's already surpassed, I believe. I might be wrong about this. I did not verify this, but he might have already surpassed his goal total for Dortmund, right? For Dortmund, right? In 13 games, he's done this. But when we're looking outside. At the El Clásico, or El Clásico. That's redundant to say the El Clásico. You need figures to step up. And you mentioned the boogeyman effect, right? And Jude Bellingham just stepped up to perpetuate that, to continue that on, because there has not been a remontada Clásico win in over 35 years. Ooh. And Jude Bellingham was just the reason that happened. He just reset that clock, okay? And to have a person like that on your team, obviously that's immense. It's immense even for one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in the world in stature. And you look at it and you say, if you can get Jude Bellingham and you can get Vinicius Jr. and you can get Rodrigo back into the swing of things, and you can find a I mean, you already mentioned it. You've already said it. Real Madrid's future is just insanely bright. It might blind you. And you can say the same thing on the other side. But if the boogeyman is Real Madrid, and Barca was still able to win La Liga next season, but the next site is obviously Champions League, then they're gonna have to get over this. They're going to have to figure a way to get this done, and no better way to do that than come back out in El Clásico and beat them at the Bernabeu.
It's true. It's true. And you're mentioning this insanely bright future that it shines so much. And it's true. And if Real Madrid, with all that they have for the future, with Valverde, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Rodrigo, Vinicius, and they still get Xabi Alonso, Alphonso Davies, and Kylian Mbappé, they're the best team in the world. Like Man City, for the pieces they have, they still cannot beat a team like Real Madrid if they manage to assemble these unreal transfers. So let's wait and see if that happens. But in La Liga, we still have other people to mention, because the La Liga title race is involving other teams. And I did go and see Benfica Real Sociedad, and that was such a good team, okay? Real Sociedad's midfield is super underrated, and I'm going to say it's top 10 in the world right now in form. Zubimendi, Brais Mendes, and Mikel Merino. Bold statement, Mikel Merino is the best replacement that Rodri can have at Man City. Calvin Phillips ain't enough, and Merino would understand what Guardiola would need. That is an underrated CDM right there, okay? I really wanted to give the shout out to Real Sociedad, because La Liga, they did draw this weekend, but they're balling out.
They did. They were losing at one point. They actually they fought back, and Mikel Oyarzabal, 26 years old, and he's their captain as well. He's starting to heat up. So I think this run can continue to go. But then again, Real Sociedad has been in the top 5, top 4 the last couple seasons, or maybe even 3 or 4 seasons. It's been pretty routine that Real Sociedad is up there. And what is it going to take to take that next step? And I don't know the answer to that. I'd love to hear what other people think, but I love that you were mentioning Mikel Merino, because once upon a time, he was at the Tyne. He was at Newcastle. He was at Newcastle. It didn't work out. I think injuries derailed him, but he was incredibly promising heading over there. And who knows, maybe one day he might actually be back there. Give a little more of a Spanish flair, or Spanish with Portuguese flair, Brazilian flair in the midfield at Newcastle. But yeah, I love that you mentioned that. On top of the fact that Oyarzabal and Takefusa Kuba is already one of the best players in La Liga, in terms of a lot of analytics, a lot of chances created, all that good stuff. Long may it continue, but above them in the table and sitting on top at one point for a long period of time was Girona. And I think that they deserve a whole lot of credit, because it's continuing. Alex, they're winning the games that generally they would drop. right?
That's true.
They're winning the games against teams that I guess you look at it and you say on paper that I don't know, they're even, but a lot of these Girona players have taken a massive step up. And the biggest part of this Girona team, which I believe is it's 9 wins in 11, one loss only, and that only loss was to Barcelona's boogeyman, and that's Real Madrid, right? So the best part of their team is
Savio.
their flanks. They have their flank. Well, it is Savia, absolutely, but I actually think their fullbacks, young fullbacks, are a lot of fun to watch. Now, they've been using Jan Couto, City Football Group. They've been using Jan Couto as a winger and as a fullback. Yep. He has had a very good last month plus. But they also have Miguel Gutierrez and Arno Martinez on either side. Yeah, and the average age of those three are 21 years old. And Savio, has he even broken 20 yet? Is he 20 now?
No,
I think he is.
I think he's no. I think or he's just broken to 20. But no,
Okay.
Jeez, that's so young. That's so. And they sold Pedro Porro to Sporting in the past. Like, oh my days, man. And young Couto by Miguel Gutierrez was one of the best young fullbacks from La Fábrica in the past 2 years. So they managed to take the risk.
They did. And their midfielder, their playmaker this year, we saw him do it for a brief period last year too, was actually in Manchester City's football system. Not surprising because this is a City Football Group club. But it is Alex Garcia. And I mean, he's got 6 goal involvements this season, and he's up there with chances created per game with the best of them in La Liga. So I'm not saying that Girona can keep this going, but considering how awesome and homey and like on top of the field and the atmospheric their town is, their city is, and how proud they are, I really, really, really want to root for this underdog.
That's
I want to
nice.
see them go pretty far this season, and it'd be great to see them maybe even get a win over Barca at some point, considering they're right down the road from each other. I don't know if it'll happen, but
Didn't
you gotta love it.
Castellano score like 4 goals against Real Madrid last season?
He
So that
He
did
did.
happen. So we might as well see something happen like that this season. And my last mention with La Liga is I want to give a bit of love to one of the best, one of the most underrated transfers that happened this summer was free agent Isco landing at Real Betis, okay? 5 goal involvements and 7 man of the match awards for Isco in these past few games. And Real Betis are a top 8 team in La Liga because of this legend. He's been constantly underrated because, yes, he didn't play a lot of years at Real Madrid, but he is a baller, okay? He's dealt with the best in the world, and that's the routine, okay? Still in La Liga. It's good to see players like that.
New lease on life there.
It's true.
It's great to see him.
And you
balling
mentioned
out.
with
Yeah,
Oyarzabal. Oyarzabal played winger and striker. He played striker against Benfica. I really wanted to mention that. And when I watched Real Sociedad Benfica too, I witnessed Takefusa Kubo. Takefusa Kubo, if it's not going back to Real Madrid, it's going somewhere that he's going to be one of the best wingers in the world. Left-footed, he is so special, people, okay? A team like Liverpool without Salah, a team like City, Arsenal, all in the need of a winger. Kubo is that guy, okay? He's the leader of Japan next to Mitoma. And he's the leader for me, Kubo. Unreal player.
And for those that are not aware, I know Alex probably doesn't want to bring this back up again, but Real Sociedad midweek were able to go to the Estadio de Luz
Exactly.
and get a win. And that's shocking because, when you think of the Estadio de Luz, you think of it as a fortress. And, there's been some weird things happening with Benfica at the Estadio de Luz, especially in the Champions League. But I'm sure it'll snap back to being a fortress soon enough. And they're still in it.
Because they've played Red Bull Salzburg, Real Sociedad, but they still haven't played Inter at home. They're in the same group. But people, let us know your thoughts about La Liga. Who's going to win La Liga? And some interesting topics, facts down below in the comment section is much appreciated.